The last time I gave an altcoin signal was right here. And since then, the altcoin market has doubled. But today, I want to give you an even bigger signal because what I'm going to show you inside of this video is very rare. It's a very rare chart pattern to see, especially playing over multiple years. And it means something major is coming for altcoins. So let's get into it. Welcome, I'm Steve. Here we deliver honest, sponsorship-free TA with genuine value. Subscribe for a no BS approach that actually helps you. Subscribe. Here we are. We're on the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, and we're on the 2-week chart. So everything that you see on this chart is representative of every altcoin on planet Earth. Nothing with Bitcoin is here. When you set this up on your chart, on the 2-week chart, what you notice right away, if we're just talking about price action, is a distinct pattern. It is right in front of you right now. It's a very rare pattern, especially to see play out over this long period of time. But make no mistake, this is a very explosive pattern if it plays out and does the following. In today's video, we're going to break down what this pattern is and what it needs to do and how high things can realistically go if this were to play out. Because if you like altcoins and you hold altcoins, this chart is everything that you need to know about what your favorite altcoin is about to do. So let's break it down. What you see in front of us is we're going to talk about the price action, which is the whole altcoin market minus Bitcoin, and we're going to focus in on the stochastic RSI. Remember, the stochastic RSI is our momentum. And what we were looking at in the last time we talked about altcoins was this candle that printed holding critical support here, and it's a bullish reversal hammer candle, meaning it's typically found at the bottoms of a downturn and signals a trend reversal to the upside. At the same time we printed that strategic candle, we got a 2-week stochastic RSI cross, which we always talk about typically happens just once per year and marks the biggest moves of that year. So here we are. We still have stochastic RSI momentum to the upside, and we are faced with some rejection at this white line. So we've got to dig into what this white line is, and more importantly, what is this pattern that we see playing out? Well, let's dig into some price action, shall we? What you'll notice straight away is back in the glory days of 2020, we had this enormous rally up with altcoins. The altcoin market went from about 200 billion up to almost 1.5 trillion really fast. When it did, it was met with resistance, and it first had resistance here back in May 2021. From that time, it had a brief breathing period, building some key market structure on what was prior our resistance, broke through, resistance above, breakdown, holding prior resistance as support, final push to the moon, holding resistance at the same area, and then falling into this long-term downtrend, which ended up building our base. Our base was built from June 22 all the way until September 23. It was a beautiful base. And from there, we've slowly grinded back to our resistance zone, which was our white line. We started grinding up back in March 2024, only to be received with some resistance. We came back down. You see these beautiful candles here. Again, anytime you see the wicks on the downside, it means one thing and one thing only: momentum to the upside. Once we received that, we started going back to the upside, and we went to the upside right back to this white line. And once we got there, it was rejection once again. No hype, just facts. Subscribe and relax. Once again, we fell back down to this trend line, something that we have been playing with, well, since August 2017. We'll get into the trend line in a moment, but once we came down to this trend line, you know the rest. You were sitting right here watching our show, and we told you about this candle that had printed in this 2-week stochastic RSI cross, and we were looking at one area and one area only, going back to this white line. And that is where we are today. Now, when we did this move, we made a very distinct pattern. I want to start to break this pattern down because this is a rare pattern, and I told you it was right on your screen as you were starting the video. It was clear as day. Let me show you. I'm going to draw this pattern. We're going to talk through it, and you're going to leave an expert on this pattern. But this pattern starts out with coming from up here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to grab our brush that's down here, and we're going to select our brush, and we're just going to ride down because I want to highlight what we have been doing. So what we have been doing is we made this cup. Do you see this cup right here? A beautiful cup has resistance at a prior level. It rises all the way down in a beautiful formation. It builds a nice bottom of the cup, which is typically our base. And then it starts riding up, back up to that resistance zone, which is the top of our cup. Once it gets there, it does a very specific move. That very specific move is to build our handle. You see our handle here, right? So it builds a cup, it builds a handle, and then you typically see a breakout to the upside. This formation is called a cup and handle formation. It is a very bullish formation to form, and it's very rare to form over multiple year period, especially to our prior all-time high to current peak. Those are the ideal situations, and that's what we have right in front of us in the crypto market when it comes to altcoins. While everyone waited to buy Bitcoin under 10K, which never happened, I told you to buy at 15K, which ended up being the bottom. And I called for Coinbase to go from 50 to 500. But none of that matters if you don't know how to exit like a pro. Soon, I'm going to be releasing my personal exit strategy. Be ready. So what does this cup and handle mean for you and your favorite altcoin? Well, it simply means that right now, this may be one of the most bullish patterns that we've had in recent memory in the altcoin market. What you typically see is this cup handle form a lot of times, but to be able to form a textbook handle and then to see a breakout is still a rare occurrence, right? Especially over a multi-year period. You can find these on the 1-minute chart, the 5-minute chart, obviously so on and so forth. The smaller time frames mean smaller breakouts. But one thing remains clear. You want to see a beautiful handle formation. And let me dissect the psychology of this, right? The cup starts at the prior all-time high, which typically is met with resistance. With resistance, we form our bear market and we start crashing. Once we get to the bottom, we start forming our base. Once we get our base and we complete our base, we start the new market cycle. And in the new market cycle, we start out relatively slow, battling resistance zones, and we battled all the way back up to our prior all-time high. Once we got there, there was a lot of profit taking. Why? It's the prior all-time high. That's the heaviest level of resistance. You'll see this play out. A lot of stocks had this formation, and some altcoins also have this formation. A lot of things in present day have this type of formation with prior all-time high, current high, cup forming. Now, the hard part, the handle. What does this mean to the market? Well, the market is saying like, hey, we were resistance back in the day. We crashed. Then we formed our base, then we rallied all the way again, only to be met with resistance. What this is doing is testing structure. Once we meet resistance, we need to form our handle. Our handle typically comes down to some support zones that we were facing in the prior years, which is precisely what we did. That handle tells the market like, hey, this is our test of support, and if the market can prove itself, it's going to rebound off of said support and start to rally up towards this break line. This break line, like the neckline of a Head and Shoulders, the neckline of this cup and handle is here at about 1.56 trillion. What you see at 1.56 trillion is the bodies of our candles from back in the day, 2021, and the bodies of our candles from December 24, the two most bullish parts of the market, mixing with the market of precisely today, which is right at this level that we're talking about. We are back here for the third time in history. The three most bullish times in recent memory in the entire altcoin space. We are living in it right now. We are breathing it right now. What this can mean for the altcoin market. Let me know your predictions down below. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you right back here in the next video. Trade like a tourist or go with the pros. The FFA is where the real ones go. Link in description.